Hello, everyone, and welcome to Red Valkyrie Presents. I am, of course, Shae the Red with my amazing co-host, finally no longer traveling, Cyborg Valkyrie. How are you, Cy?
I am doing awesome, awesome. How you doing today, Shay?
Doing good, doing good. Sitting with my laptop propped up on a bunch of boxes. It's super fun over here.
Yeah. Well,
Uh, but
there's that metal thing that you could set it on. But
that's what it's on. It's fine. It's good. We're good. And by the way, Sai, I just found your mic randomly. So not
good to
that you
know.
need it now, but whatever. And we are here with the super amazing Oz. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is like a really fun kind of campaign from what I could see that just seems like it's really wholesome and all about just kind of giving kids like that confidence. And so it was really interesting to find a cosplay because um trying to I was debating, do I paint my whole body blue and do like a really interesting bald cap Mr. T situation or do we go with some of the others? But this seems like a really fun campaign, so I'm excited to get into it. And before we do, Sai, I do believe that we need to do a cosplay reveal for the man.
Yes, we do. Sorry, I just heard creeping up the stairs, so
Ah,
I was concerned. Here we
okay.
go.
Metamorphosis completed, sir.
Shae the Red.
Has now become
Awesome.
Hey!
Hey, that looks great.
Thank you. You know what? I'm a lot more proud of this than I probably should be because this sweater zip up thing I actually sewed together. And I gotta say, trying to get the curves, that's a lot trickier than it looks. It looks like it's gonna be a real simple thing until you start sewing it, and then it's really stressful. And it took a couple hours for me to figure it out. But hey, we've got an actual bona fide hoodie of one of your chicks, and I am super excited for us to get
Sublime
into
Eye.
that. What's her name?
Sublime Eye.
Sublime Eye.
Sublime.
Nice.
Yeah, she can read minds.
I like it. I noticed that from the campaign when we were looking at it.
All
And
women think they can read minds.
oh no, it's really funny because she totally freaks out a little kid who was like minding his own business, and she goes over to him and she's like, "Yeah, I think that too," or whatever, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" So but yeah, this looks like a really interesting campaign. So I want to hear more about it because from my perspective, this really seems like it's a great all ages kind of campaign. Um, but I want to hear your thing behind it. What are you doing, Sai?
I'm trying to adjust the size of the window that I have this in so it shares a little more pretty and a
That
little more full screen.
that is
I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Shut up. Fuck's sake. Like I didn't just put this computer together an hour ago.
whose fault is that?
Yours.
You're welcome for your desk. Anyway, Oz, how about you tell us really what is Everlasting Survivors? Because it looks like such a cool concept. So I really want to hear from you.
So, it is a story about a trio of heroes who garnered powers, but they don't know. Well, they have. It's yet to be revealed to them or the audience where the powers came from. That will come in time. This is only volume 1.
Okay.
So the only thing that the 3 characters hold in common is that if they experience a death blow, they come back with a new, what I call abnormality, because it's not necessarily a good thing that happens. Because as you had already stated, one of the heroes, one of his abnormalities is his complexion turned blue. It's not as though that's something advantageous. It's just something out of the ordinary. And so
he basically was Violet from Willy Wonka and just straight up blue.
So the reason that his complexion changes because when I lived in Hawaii, I had a friend who was an albino Samoan, and
Oh wow.
he used that that thing that set him apart, that thing that made him different, to stand out in the professional wrestling game. We lived in Hawaii, and so into a wrestling, but there weren't a lot of albino Samoans who were wrestling, so he leaned into the thing that made him different, and that's what inspired me to make one of my heroes, who is a professional wrestler in the story, have a different complexion and something that he leans into to stand out and rise to prominence because of the thing that makes him different, or visually. I mean, obviously.
Hey, no, look, I'm 6'1" and female, with bright red hair, so I get it. I get physically standing out in a crowd, and I love that's kind of the way that you took it with him, where it's like he is using it to his advantage, despite the fact that it's like, yeah, this is really fucking weird, and
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, he wasn't a success before the complexion change. He did it because he wanted to. He tried to find success, but it really didn't take off until, like I said, he looked different and could stand out. And so, it's basically me hopefully foreshadowing the fact that I can make this book a success, because right now it's I've still at the moment got more invested in it than I've made, which is fine. It's the whole reason, I go on channels and then try and promote its whole YouTube channel called Mr. Super Oz, so that I can do that ad read in each one of my videos to say, hey, this is the reason this channel.
Yeah.
It's not an actual ad read, it's just me talking, but you get the idea.
No, absolutely. And it's so do you consider this like all ages but kind of geared towards like younger readers that are coming up, or
so
is this...
my goal was the PG-13 rating. If you notice throughout the pages, I sprinkle in a couple of words here and there, just like I think in the opening couple pages I use the word hell, and like damn or whatever, just to get the point across. Hey, it's not a kid, but I also don't go super extreme and say, or have so it's not R and it's not G. I try and stay in that PG area.
No, absolutely. And that's something that I think is really cool, because the way that you're showing these kids that they're kind of coming across and meeting,
they're basically in awe of the heroes, because I want the reader to understand that the heroes are known to the public, and thus this charity event, people want to interact with them.
Right, absolutely. And I think that it's really cute. Like, scroll down just a little bit, Sai. I really like how parts of it get super played up. Like the kid that punches the blue guy, and he takes half a second, and then he goes, "Oh gosh," and like drops down and everything. And it's, to me, I'm like, that is exactly what it's like when you're around little kids and you're like, oh wait, that was like your big moment, and you're like, okay, do it again. Oh, just knocked me on my butt, kind of thing. And I think it's cute, and it makes your characters really endearing right from the get-go.
Thank you. Yeah, that is the intention, and why this part happens early on, is so that the reader can understand how the world sees them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that the thing that probably makes me like the most like feel all warm and fuzzy inside is after he falls down, the kid's cheering, and then the kid helps him up, which
he's helping him up.
It's like, clearly I don't need help getting up, but I'm gonna let this kid be like, yes, oh, I can't, you just knocked me so hard, if you don't help me up, I won't get up at all. Like, whew, that was crazy. It's just, to me, it's just so cute to see. And then the fact that, they go home and it's like, we still have normal lives. Like, we're not this camp all the time. We're this camp because we're around these kids.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anytime it's not the kid stuff, if you keep going down, you'll see both the art, because it's a different artist, and the tone change when the kids aren't around, because it's different artists. So the artist that did the kid stuff, he was actually the one who finished the story. He only did 15 of the 68 pages. The other 53 pages were done by, well, the original artist who went on to become, well, I'll just say really busy. I mean, I almost said more successful than me, but I'll just say really busy.
Yeah,
And
we don't got to measure success. That's fine.
oh
Gotta
yeah,
wait
exactly.
for another opportunity.
Well, and we're still cool. Like I just talked to him yesterday. He just legitimately is a busy fellow. So the person who did the first, the original 53 pages is Jeff Hicks from World Class Bullshitters. And before or when we first met, he didn't even have a YouTube channel, and he didn't have any projects of his own. And
That
so
was
when
a
I made,
long time ago.
you were correct. Yeah, it was 2014 when we met. This has actually taken quite a long time to come to be. So
I
what
wasn't
happened?
busting your chops. I just meant I watched World Class Bullshitters for a while, and I know that he had what was it, Down Go Solo?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's had. I think he's on 3 or 4 projects funded now, something like that.
Wow.
But regardless, the point was that it's taken a while to get to this place.
Right.
Because what happened was it wasn't just my albino Samoan friend who was wrestling. I was as well. And
Oh, nice.
when I stepped away from wrestling, I still had to. I didn't have to, but I wanted that creative outlet. And when I stopped, I was like, I just, obviously I like superheroes, and so I devised this idea. And at first, I was trying to draw it myself, but no matter what I would do, I was never happy with what I could accomplish on my own. And so lots of things happened, but the important thing that happened is I had some friends invite me to a comic convention. While there, I met Jeff, and I don't know why. I jokingly say The Rock is the reason we're friends because he had a drawing of The Rock, but it was a bunch of other people too, Jason David Frank and I don't know, Optimus Prime or whatever. But we started talking about his art, and I explained the general principle of the story, and he was intrigued, gave me a business card, and a few months later, I reached out and had enough money saved up to get the first 10 pages drawn. The reason I bring up the fact that it took a few months is because the reason I got out of wrestling is because there were too often times where I would go to a show, I would have a match, and then the guy who was running the show would say, "Hey, I'll get you next time, kid," because we didn't make enough money. And so I hated the idea of doing that to somebody else, and so I would always save back money so I could pay Jeff when we met up. And it's really funny because he was willing to draw the art without the money because he was interested, and well, he didn't have any other job at the time, so he was like, yeah, I want to draw, let's do it. But I just refused to do business that way because I didn't want to fall into a situation where he would have art done and I couldn't pay him for it. And so that's the reason it took so long to get to the 53 complete pages that I had from him. And then by the time that I had those pages, he was already becoming, like I said, busy and successful with his own endeavors. And so that's the reason why that I ended up getting a second artist. This guy's name is Nick Crook. He's the one who finished the final 15, the additional pages where I was like, okay, these are the things that I need that I kind of missed out on. Because the pages he did, this kid stuff, was actually written after the art that Jeff did, because I felt like I was missing 2 small pieces. This, the introductory to the characters, and then this other this other piece of the story to feel like the book was complete. And once I got those together, I launched the original campaign. But I did it super badly. I launched without having a YouTube channel. I launched without being on people's channels to promote. I launched without lots of things. I just launched because the story was done, and I was like, hey, here's the thing. And
you did our least favorite, our soft launches. Never launch soft. That's the worst.
And so
Fully erect launches only.
What's that?
Fully erect launches only.
I understand. So so after that first failed attempt, um, yeah, I knew that it couldn't be the end. So that's the reason I did the relaunch, and I've done as many of these types of interactions as possible, while also releasing videos on my own YouTube channel that I launched after the failed attempt, because it's a way to keep people engaged, even if they're unable to monetarily contribute. They can still at least know where things are at and understand that, you know, I'm still trying.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so while I will say I don't subscribe to the idea that everybody needs to have a YouTube channel, because having a YouTube channel that's going to be effective or successful is a lot of work. And trying to do that on top of a comic, on top of whatever other creative endeavors you have, take it from
Well, and then the also the regular job that pays the bills.
exactly. I'm full-time active duty military. I'm in 3 volleyball leagues, and I do cosplays, commissions, and eventually I've got projects I'm working on writing and stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot with that and YouTube, and it's really hard to keep the numbers up and the algorithm going well and everything. So I will never tell creatives you have to have a YouTube channel in order for you to be successful, because that's bullshit. That is not at all what you need to do. What you do need to do is learn how to network well. You need to learn how to market your product well, and you need to learn how to get it in as many different kinds of circles as possible. So doing the soft launches is, especially when you're an unknown and you don't already have that following, is one of the worst things that you can do, because you can't really bring anyone to it. And
Well, so it's hilarious. The reason that I made that fatal error, or whatever, it's not fatal, I'm still alive, but that big mistake is because of seeing but not understanding the success that Jeff had. So I saw he's got all this, you know, monetary success, and I was like, oh well, that I know how to do what he just did, but I didn't do the front end work, which was create the successful channel in advance. Is the reason I started the channel after. Now, maybe that's not the answer either. I don't know what it is precisely the answer, but that's why I'm trying, just trying things.
well, and so okay, I'll give you a little bit of what I've been gleaning from. I'm currently in college for marketing. That's my major, right? And so what I can tell you from the couple of years that I've been doing this at this point, everybody's got a different hook. And everybody's got a different target audience, right? And so
Right.
figuring out exactly where your target audience is and where this story and these characters resonate the most with, that is the hardest part of your job. So
Absolutely.
doing the initial shotgun blast of like, I'm going to go to, you know, if there's local bookstores that are doing some kind of an event, and I can get in there and, you know, hand out flyers to kids, or I'm going to go to libraries, or I'm going to go see if I can donate some copies maybe to some, you know, junior high kids or something like that, to a school or something, and see if I can kind of start to find that target audience and see what they're really digging and where their algorithms online are taking them, so you can
Right.
be part of that. It's really, really hard to find, but when you do find it, then that's when it's like, okay, I've got this target audience, I know what I'm going to do now. And so that's when you can really start to, you know, drum back, and they'll come to you more. But in the initial stages, it's all hustle. It's you going where they are and figuring out where the hell that is, and it takes a lot of analysis and a lot of work. So
Right.
don't feel
I
bad
have a
that it's
question.
taking a bit.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you say that you were actively in the Army?
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay, so maybe you just said military.
Yeah, I said active duty.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so because I was in the active Army for 3 years, and then the National Guard for 3 years, so I was just like, you know, that's cool, because I I just hadn't had a chance to acknowledge what you said, so I was like, that's
Oh
cool.
no, you're fine. I ramble. You got to cut me off sometimes. But yeah, it's
Speaks truth.
shut up, Sai. The the other thing that you might be able to kind of hone in on that could be a good market for you, especially because you do have a tie to the service. There's a lot of people who do things with wounded warriors or a lot of the military hospitals and stuff, especially if they do have things for dependents, because then you can get into that kind of, it seems like your market is kind of hitting around 13 and up maybe, or maybe even like maybe 10 and up, but
Sure, yeah,
hitting that slightly younger market as they're growing up and getting into kind of the more spicy stuff. That seems like where the crux of your market tends to be. Sorry, Samurai, it's because I'm on this little headset. I'm trying to speak loud. But yeah, it's trying to figure out where you can possibly get into those places. And a lot of military community is obviously, we're really good at taking care of our own and supporting one another. So the fact that you're an indie writer and active, like you were active in the military for, 6 years, I would see if there's anything there that you could tap into for sure, because you might be able to hit a whole other market of kids that kind of feel displaced like your main characters do, and that kind of feel like they're always being uprooted and things aren't really as stable as they want because they're constantly transient. And now it's, hey, I turned blue and had to figure out how to roll with it. So
exactly. Yeah, I
it
think
could
that's
be
a great
another good
idea.
market.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'm trying to figure out how to be quieter.
Don't worry about being quieter. I can tell you why I sound so quiet. And let me know if that's better, Blue.
Okay.
I had echo cancellation on because headset.
Gotcha. So, no, I think that's a great concept. And the funny thing is, when I was deployed to Iraq, I got a random care package. It wasn't for me specifically. It was just, hey,
For
anybody
everyone
who's
who's deployed.
exactly. It's like, hey, person, here's the thing. And so,
Yep.
in it, there was a Wildcats graphic novel, and as soon as I saw the thing, I was like, "Yep, that's mine," because I remembered watching the cartoon when I was growing up,
Right.
and
Well,
so I guess my point was I like that. I appreciate the thought, and I think that has a great connection, or would be a great connection.
absolutely. Well, and there's a lot of people who are in this kind of indie scene who are either active or former military. And for a lot of those people, they'll do care packages to deployed members. They'll do care packages in I'm quiet in person. No, I'm not.
Not at all.
Not even a little. I was loud as
That seems
shit.
like a
But
joke.
anyway. But yeah, it's a lot of people were doing care packages for wounded warriors who were like, hi, I'm rehabilitating and learning how to walk like without a leg, and things kind of suck. And hey, look, here's a comic that somebody made. Like, fuck it, I'll read it. Why not? It, could be entertaining. And then they end up going like, yeah, I actually really enjoyed that. Are there any more?
Right?
So,
Yeah, and more is the goal.
Exactly. And I think that one of the most valuable things, I would say more valuable than a creator worrying about a YouTube channel, make sure that you have a branded website. And so people always have a touch point that they can go back to that isn't going to go out of business, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, your IPs might change, your direction for your various stories and things like that will change. But if you have something that's branded for your imprint, for what you want to do, and that's where you can send them, then you can put that in the back of every single one of your books. And if somebody goes, I really enjoyed this book, I wonder if this guy has something else, they can go to that website and they can see what you have that's your latest work, no matter when they picked up that book.
Right.
I am not.
definitely
Listen
need
here,
that.
you. Sorry. We have our troll in the chat. I remember you, sir. I am very short in real life. I'm totally not gigantic.
Yeah. 5'3".
Anyway, 5'3". such an ass. No, so I
Well,
like this,
Sublime
and I
Eye is
like.
5'3".
I'm sorry. What did you say, Oz?
I said Sublime Eye, the character you're currently portraying, is 5'3".
Of course she is, because she's small and dainty. I am only 10 inches taller than her in real life. It's fine.
Yeah, nothing to it, right? Nothing
Like,
to
it's
it.
fine. I'm just a really big version of her. That's all. um, okay, so we talked a little bit about this. So what was the total page count? Because you kind of gave it to us broken. So what is the total?
68 pages total.
68 pages. That's a beefy boy. That's a good one. Um, I'm excited to hear about these tiers because first off, you have merch and I'm a merch whore, and so
So the reason there's merch, the reason there's a hat, the reason there's a shirt, and the reason there's 2 posters is because of the prior launch. I wanted to give people who bought the book the first time, because if you scroll down a little, you'll see that there's a tier that's just the hat and just the shirt. Like, let's say that you were here from the start and you already got the story, but there it is, and you want to support in a different way because you don't need the same story but with a different cover.
right.
So that's why that's created. And the reason I did the featured tier, which is all of it, the posters, the every cover, the hat, the shirt, all that stuff, is because in the original launch, I didn't do it that way. I did everything individually, and people were like, well, what if I just want to give you a lot of money? I'm like, well, I'm not mad at it. And so that's why I created what I call all in, because I call the company Gamble Comics due to the idea that I'm betting on myself and hopefully this gamble will pay off.
I like it.
I also thought that it'd be amusing if I actually did an advertising campaign. I'd say take a chance on Gamble Comics because, I am asking people to take a chance on it, but I haven't spent money on a campaign on a advertising campaign due to not having money.
Fair.
Well, in abundance, I mean, obviously. I'm not like destitute.
Yeah, like clearly you at least have internet, so I'm assuming you're doing okay, because I feel like internet goes before like housing and food and things like that.
Blue is here, and Blue has read the book.
We love Blue. Blue's awesome.
Yeah.
So Blue said the book is a good introduction to characters. I think the strengths of the story and the characters overcome a few rough spots in the book. It feels complete to me while setting up a lot.
Awesome.
That's high praise.
I very much appreciate that. Yeah, I was the last, well, maybe not last, but one of the recent shows I was on, Blue was on as well, and I didn't even realize because when I mail out books, I don't write Blue Samurai. I write the person's name on the slip. So I didn't even realize when Blue was on the show that that I'd already mailed out a book to Blue, and when he was talking, it felt like he knew the story, and then I was taken
aback.
Why
do you know everything? This is weird. He's like, because I've already read it.
Yeah, no, it's just a great feeling because a few times in real life, or more than a few times, I've had people say, "Oh, that was good. When can I get it more?" I was like, "I don't know, when I have money." And but it was the first time I'd been on a live stream where someone had surprised me with the idea that they had read it. Like if I was on a show with people I already knew, then I knew that they had it. I sent them the book because I know them, but I didn't know Blue's real name. And when I found out, I was like, "Oh, look at that! I did send you a book." Now I'm rambling.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm sorry. I'm trying to respond to a message very quickly.
I can continue rambling then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling when people feel positive about your story.
Absolutely. Well, and it's really I don't want to say rewarding. I want to say
gratifying.
No. Where you get validating. There we go. That's it. I'm sorry. I have this problem with words sometimes, where they just don't come, and I feel like I'm a fucking moron. But no, it's really validating when you have somebody else who is going through something that you've put a lot of like time and effort into, and they they get it. I've had a lot of people, I've written a lot of different kinds of things. I've had a lot of people read what I've written, and I've had a lot of that blank stare after they read it, and they're like, "Yeah, it was good." And you're like, "Feel like it wasn't your thing, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be." And they're like, "No, it was as good."
It
You're like,
was
"Okay."
it was very decent.
Yeah, and I've
It
had
was
people who
acceptable.
a lot of the stuff that I write, because I really like kind of the macabre, and I like, like I read Junji Ito and stuff like that. So I do a lot of kind of darker horror stuff, and I've done the mistake of letting my very bubbly friends read my not bubbly like poetry and stuff, and literally every single fucking time they read it and they go, "Do you need a hug?" Like, no,
That's
did you
wonderful.
like the story? And they're like, it was interesting. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Did it disturb you too much? Like, are you feeling all right inside, or do we need to like have an like, I'm just curious, like, are you talking to anyone?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. It's not as big of a deal as you're making it out to be."
Yeah,
um
that's hilarious when people take things too seriously.
oh yeah, and
Yeah, it's called entertainment.
it is terrible, the comments that you get when people don't fully understand what it is that you're trying to do. So I'm happy that Blue has read it and has so many positive things to say, because that's got to really be motivating as far as continuing on, and hopefully it's a good endorsement so other people want to get into this too.
Yeah, that is my hope as well. And for anybody who is here and
Yeah.
can't or can't currently, or for some reason isn't interested, if you could just subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I would really appreciate it, because it literally costs nothing, and it will hopefully in short order be a thing that helps make art continue being produced, because I have this illusion that someday YouTube will decide to, cut me in on the action.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna tell you, someone who's monetized, it's pennies.
Oh,
Really, the benefit of being monetized is that people can super chat you and you can put it up on screen. But in all honesty, the amount that YouTube takes from it, and the fact that it takes like 30 to 60 days for you to get the payout, is kind of meh.
oh,
If
okay.
you
Well,
really
that's
want to
good to know.
support creators and you want to super chat, set up a business PayPal and share it out when you stream, and so people can just send you a PayPal, and then you can screen clip it and share your screen.
Okay, well,
That's how
that's
we
good
get
to know.
around it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's really beneficial when you're pulling in like 100,000 views, but when you're at 1,000 plus subs, and not, you haven't hit like 10 or 100,000. We make, I think last year we made somewhere around, I want to say $6.80 in ad
Oh,
revenue
wow, that's
for
very
a
enticing.
year. Yeah, you know what? And that 680, that was after YouTube took their cut, at least. But yeah, no. So like, it's, unless you're pulling in massive numbers, you're
Yeah,
not
no,
making.
it is very beneficial to have this look behind the curtain, because I never knew it was like that.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and most people don't. So if you end up going viral and you get a shit ton of subscribers out of the blue and everything, then yeah, it can be really helpful. If you end up having moments where you're viral and you can ride that wave, that's great. If you're like us, we built this channel, slowly and methodically, and we're really trying to flesh out who our brand is and what we are and what we cover, and that takes a lot more time. Plus, I'm, active duty. I used to have two jobs when we first started this channel. So I was working 16 hours a day. And, Sai's been in and out doing all kinds of stuff. So between the two of us, we haven't been able to dedicate the time that we want to really push this forward, but we've been laying a good foundation. And
Absolutely.
so that's what we're going to build on in the future to really push it and to try and get those numbers so it is beneficial. But until you get there, it's
Yeah, it's
slow.
good. It's
It
good to
is
have.
slow.
It's good to have the insight.
Uh, oh no. Welcome back. That was crazy.
Did I do that?
I don't know. That is the first time I've ever seen somebody blink and come back immediately. So I want to say yes, but also I didn't have to re-add you, so I don't know what happened. I think I'm gonna blame StreamYard. We're gonna say StreamYard just doesn't know what it's doing.
Okie dokie.
All right. So let's go through your. Stop doing that. That
I
was
touched
crazy.
nothing.
I don't know what's happening. All right. Let's go through before you boop out again. Let's go through your tiers, and so people know how they can back you. So let's talk about this all-in tier.
So, with the relaunch, there are 3 brand new covers: a new cover from Jeff Hicks, a new cover from Nick Crook, and a third cover from the colorist of the book, Fabri Ferdian. So all 3 new covers are available in this tier, along with an Everlasting Survivors t-shirt and a Gamble Comics hat. Also, you get 2 11x17 posters.
Very good. I agree with what Blue's saying here. It would be good to add the cover images on the campaign so people can see the various covers in a little bit more detail instead of just the tiny little thumbnail that you get in the actual tier section.
That is
So
correct.
I would just add it at the bottom after all of your art, like
Pages,
story art
yeah.
that you've shown, and just throw those up there. Probably the same for the posters too, if the images are different.
They're
If they're
they're the
just
same. They're the same pictures.
okay, yeah, then I would
Yeah,
just
the
show
posters are the cover art.
if you show the covers, then you can turn around and say this cover is also available as a print,
Yes.
kind of thing. But yeah, yeah. So that's a lot. That's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. And then obviously you're offering both posters and
So,
a complimentary sticker.
oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. So every tier, if you back up the tier, it comes with a Gamble Comics logo sticker. So the poker chip image that's on the cover that is too small to see, which now I realize.
Yes. Well, see that, and that's the thing is this. So back to the marketing side of things, because I'm a nerd and this is what I love to do. This is where effective branding comes in, right? So if this is Gamble Comics and that's what you want to lead with, then that needs to be listed prominently where people can see your emblem or your logo so they can start getting used to it, and then when they start seeing it on more projects they know that that's you. They tie it back just like when you see DC, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that
When you
is
see
the
DC, you know.
yes.
So
Hey, I like Superman. Maybe I'll like
sorry,
this
what was
thing.
that?
I said I like Superman. Maybe I'll like this thing. The
Yeah,
same logo's there.
exactly. So that's kind of the mentality that you want people to start associating, especially if this is something that you want to do not just as a hobby, but it's something you want to be successful at and you want to do long term. You got to start getting that good branding out there and make sure that your logo isn't too crazy. Like our full logo is a little insane.
If you
But
scroll all the way up to the video,
uh-huh.
but without clicking it, you'll see the Gamble Comics logo right there. Again, it's too
Uh-huh.
small. I apologize for the size, but that's what it looks like.
I mean, it's great. Just making sure that you have that where it's nice and prominent, not so big that it takes up like your whole screen, but obviously big enough that people can clearly see what it is. And if you ever end up with a moment where you look at your logo and you go, "Ooh, that's kind of hard to discern," it doesn't hurt to come up with a simplified version. That's something that Cyborg and I have done because ours has, red Valkyrie and 2 different wings, and we've got a sword going down the middle, and we got the circle and all that kind of stuff. And so it can be a lot as that, but one of the things that we kind of latched onto and have kept is
Upper right
one red
corner.
wing. Huh?
Upper right corner.
Exactly. Yeah, and again, that's really small, so I'm sure that people aren't really seeing it. But that's how elaborate our normal one is. There we go. Thank you, Sai. The way that we've broken this down though is we make sure that our stuff has one red wing and one blue wing because that is synonymous with Red Valkyrie and with the rest of our logo and stuff. So being able to simplify things down, if you ever look at your logo and go, "Ooh, it looks a little busy," or "It's a little hard to discern,"
Right.
that's a good way to kind of maybe I need something a little bit simpler for certain items, and then other items can have the full elaborate one. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I like it. I don't think that it's bad. I would definitely make sure that you get it up here along with like the poster pictures, which are also the covers. Just so people know, anytime you're asking somebody to spend money on something, you want to make sure that you show them exactly what it is that they're getting.
Right. Yeah, that's something I will definitely have to remedy.
Yeah, I mean it's a simple fix. It's not like a big massive thing, but that's definitely something that I think would be helpful. All right, so one of the new covers you can get where it looks like you're getting the poster and the book.
Correct. Yeah. So both poster options. There is the option to get the poster and the book cover, the new book cover with the poster that is the same as that cover. And the reason I packaged them together is because Jeff's new cover, Jeff's new poster, and then below that is February's new cover, February's poster. It just things that made sense to put together. I think Blue actually told me when on a show I was with I should make those singularly purchasable. That way that if somebody buys this one, for instance, and wants the other poster, then I should make that an add-on, which I have
Yeah.
not yet done, but I
That's what
do
I was
need
going
to
to
do.
suggest is instead of worrying about trying to capture every single possible combo, add-ons are amazing. So people can build their own because it's really hard to predict. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people might be like, "Well, I want the book with this cover, but I also really like that other cover, but I don't want two copies of the book." Then they
Right.
would be able to mix and match.
Yes.
So I agree with
Once
Blue.
again, making mistakes.
No, it's look, this is one of the things that we do on Red Valkyrie. So don't get disheartened by anything that we say because
Oh, no.
everything that we
I
say is
fully
to
endorse the. I agree 100%. I'm not disheartened. I agree that these would be better and are better things to do. I just need to do them.
and it's easier said than done. Because it's finding the time and remembering. And I don't know about you, but when I'm done streaming, I'm fucking tired. I normally have 500 things on my list that I'm like, once we're done streaming, I'll already be at the computer and I'll do this, this, and this, and then I'm like, oh, I just want a nap. So I'm like, I'm gonna go get food and then I might sleep. And then the next thing I know, it's been 5 days. I'm like, oh, I still haven't done this thing that I
Oh,
was
I'm
supposed
sorry.
to
I
do.
was muted while I was chuckling at the fact that you're at the computer, so you're going to do anything else after you stream.
You're so mean. You
Thank
don't
you.
help.
I offer to help, and you're like, yeah, I'll upload those files you need to be able to help me with this project someday.
And I
Right.
will someday.
Okay.
It'll happen.
hmm
All right. So then, of course, we have the hat and T-shirt, which we talked about, which is pretty awesome. And I gotta say, is that for the hat? Um, is the logo in black and white on the hat?
It's white and green. It's the same logo that's on the
Okay, so it is still green.
upper. Yeah, it is still green. It's just a bad picture, like far away. I mean, so
Yeah,
it's maybe harder to make out the fact that it's green, but it is the same image that is above.
very cool. Okay, I
I
like it.
actually I actually accidentally underpriced the hat, so I'm actually taking a loss anytime somebody buys that here, but it's okay.
Well, again, live and learn. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then you have
Oh,
can I
so
just say I
so
love this
go ahead.
name.
Oh
I
yeah,
love the
so
name
there
of this
are a
shirt.
limited number of first printings still available from both Jeff Hicks and Nick Crook. So I have a tier that is a pair of Hicks and then a pair of Crooks below it. because there were, what's that say, 15? Yeah, 15 of Jeff's covers and 18 of Nick's that were still available from the first printing.
That is awesome.
There will actually be a difference between the first printings and the second printings that isn't the cover, well, the visible front cover, because Jeff has agreed to change the interior of the cover, like when you open it, the inside print, because when the book first launched, it just said who did what, but for the second printings, I wrote a dedication for my mother who passed away after the first campaign, or between the first and second campaign.
I'm very sorry for your loss. That's rough. I lost my dad recently too, so I understand that. Oh, well, I think that's really sweet though. I'm glad that you have that dedication in there, and I think that that's something that I know I would want. So that makes this tier a lot more enticing for me now, because I'm like, oh, but like I would want the original, but I also want the dedication.
Well, and I like the fact that, I mean, it doesn't matter whether he said yes or not. I was going to make it happen regardless, but I just like the fact that Jeff said, yeah, I got you. Because, you know, he was there from the start. And so, well, once I started having more than just me.
Yeah, absolutely. This is awesome. So the only other thing that I could say, and you have one of them with your featured tier. If you have any original art or anything, like if you did limited edition prints or something like that, something that you can price up a little bit higher that isn't necessarily just the book again. And so when you do have those people that want to throw more money at you, they can, without having to have, 500 copies of your book, that they're like, and this is what everyone's getting for Christmas, because this is what I have.
That's hilarious. But no, that's a
higher ticket items.
Yeah, that I like that idea a lot. And given the fact that I can draw, not as good as Jeff, but I can draw, I do think that's something that's very plausible. Like, as far as if, yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, if nobody wants it, then I'm out nothing. But if people do want it, then hey, that's great.
Well, and that's the thing, is you can even offer commissions from the creator, and be like, while in this project I'm focusing on the writing aspect of this, I am actually an artist, and I am opening up 10 commissions that'll help out the campaign. And if somebody wants them, make them 8x10s or whatever size you're comfortable with, or make them sketch cards, for heaven's sakes. People do that all the time. And so you can pick something like that, and with sketch cards you can even brand the sketch card, which is always a good thing.
Absolutely.
And,
no, I appreciate that that input.
Yeah.
Because when I did a live stream with Jeff, somebody had asked him how he came up with the designs of the characters, and he said, well, I didn't, because I gave him all the designs for the characters when we met up for the second time after initially meeting at Cincinnati Comic Expo.
Yeah.
And so it isn't outside the realm of possibility to do that. So I appreciate it.
Well, and these are all little ways, especially that aren't going to cost you as a creator really a whole lot of anything, but that are going to help your campaign, help people get more eyes on, help increase that exclusivity and like the value overall of everything that you're offering, because you've got a decently sized book here. You're offering it at an okay price point. You're not usually the problem that we see is people like horribly undercut themselves, and I would say that you're close to that. You're close to the undercut, but you're not there. So I wouldn't go lower because I don't think that's really justifiable for how big the book is and how much I know it costs to get art and everything. But
right.
Being able to offer things that aren't going to cost you a whole bunch more in supplies or overhead or printing or shipping, but that can still bring a lot of value to your campaign.
May I ask a question?
You may always ask questions. That's what this whole stream is about.
Thank you. So, I notated that you said to upload the cover art, which is good, and I notated that to offer creator sketches or commissions is what I mean. But I thought that I missed a suggestion, and maybe I didn't, and maybe I'm remembering inaccurately. But was there an additional suggestion besides those two things?
She's made like 40.
Make sure that you lead with your branding, so you don't have your actual
the logo. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I would make sure that if this is what you're going with, make a little banner that can go at the top that'll have your logo and then say, Gamble Comics Presents or whatever, and then Everlasting Survivors, and going into a little bit of the spiel, a little bit of the artwork, and then showing the covers at the towards the bottom and everything, so people can see these are the OG covers that are limited supply, because that's the good way marketing wise to brand those, is limited supply of first edition covers.
Which is true. I do not plan on ever printing those two covers again due to, well, I don't know why. I just didn't plan on it because I have 3 new ones, I guess, maybe is the reason.
Well, and you've already done this once, and people have already gotten the campaign from the first go around, right?
Correct. Yes.
So not printing those covers again means that you have just given priority to your initial support system and your initial backers by saying that is an exclusive, never again reprinted cover. And then these new covers that you have, you can pick 1 or 2 of them to be your cycle through reprints as you start going on, because clearly the idea is you're going to have volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, and every time you have one of those new volumes and you have a new campaign, you're going to want to make sure that volume 1 is still offered, but you're not likely going to continue to have volume 1 books. So you will eventually have to reprints.
My goal was to only reprint the new Jeff cover, just because he did the majority of the stuff.
And then that becomes now, that is your standard cover that anyone going forward will get, and all of the other covers that you have are limited.
Correct. Yeah, there were only ever 100 of the cover A printed and 50 of the cover B printed on the original campaign, or from the original campaign. And I should I will write that in the informational portion of the covers when I upload those images when I get home.
Very good. Make sure that you're leaning into, because you have a lot of good points that can really help boost your marketing, but you're not leveraging them, right? So,
yes.
Hi, I have this cover that is the first edition that there was only 100 printed of this cover. There was only 50 printed of this cover. These are the first edition covers. And when they're gone, they're gone. It's never being reprinted again. And then you could say the same thing for your alternate cover that you have on this campaign. I will print what I need for this campaign plus X amount of overages, and once those are gone, they're gone. And then the only cover that's going to sustain is going to be your Jeff cover. That is this is my standard reprint. So the people that are getting this cover, this is the standard reprint. Whenever I need to reprint volume 1, this will be the cover.
Right.
Lead into all of that, because that helps with exclusivity. That helps with your collectors out there who want to know what is a good one to get, which ones are going to be more valuable in the long run, and things like that. That's where you want to kind of lead.
Yeah, I have friends in real life who don't buy comics, but they bought one of the one of only 50 just because I told them that they were only 50. They're like, "Oh, cool, I'll buy one then," because they're like, maybe that'll be worth something someday.
And that's the thing, is it's FOMO, right? We all like, anyone who says that they don't have a fear of missing out is full of shit. We all do. We all want to feel special, and like we got a deal.
Exactly. People who don't read comics know what The Walking Dead is, and they know that The Walking Dead #1 is, worth something. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I gave that away in a
right. But I'm just
article.
saying conceptually, it doesn't have to be that specifically, but just,
Oh no, I'm saying I found I had a Walking Dead set and we did a raffle on our channel and I didn't do my research beforehand. And then I
that's
found out that we
entertaining.
had a really valuable one and somebody won it and I was like, shit, I already said I was giving it away. I can't get rid of I can't pull this one out of it. And so I was like, fuck. So we
I
sent it
beg
and
to
I was
differ.
very sad. No, because we promised on air. We promised, and so we can't go back on it because we're not shysters. We're not shysters, say. Anyway,
That's racist.
Sai, do you have any other questions for Oz about this campaign?
Not for Oz. I was just going to ask you when you got to be so racist.
Okay, well we're not talking to you anymore. Oz, what other little tidbits about this do you want to let our audience know before we wrap up?
I'm going to do better.
You're not doing bad. Don't get too far into the self-deprecation because you're not doing bad. It's just a matter of finding that audience, and that's probably the hardest part. So,
Hey, that's one of the things that made me and Jeff become friends is my self-deprecating humor.
that's fair.
Um,
That's actually probably why Sai and I are such good partners.
but honestly, I feel like this was a great conversation, and I hope that it illuminates people to what the book is offering, and so I nothing specifically comes to mind as to saying what I would like other people want people to know. In addition, I guess I could say that I already have the blue character. His name is Dominic Canuo. I have his origin story written already, and I have volume 2 written as well. I'm just trying to. I'll be honest. I thought about going to a bank and asking for a loan. Not asking, but applying for a loan because I want these books to exist. I was just hoping that wouldn't be the way I had to go because I want to not be in stupid crazy debt to make it happen. But
So
it,
I'm
it
gonna tell you what happened to a friend of ours.
okay.
It's just someone who used to be a friend of ours. So he was crazy insane to make a comic, and so he started putting his savings towards it, which is fine. But he had a family, and
Yeah.
and wasn't the best at consulting his significant other about this, and so his ideas kept mushrooming and snowballing, and it eventually turned. He kept sinking money into projects that he never actually launched. Not to say that that's what you're doing, but
No,
it
I
got,
understand.
it got
Yeah,
to the
that
point where, quote unquote, I believe in my vision and my campaign so much that he had borrowed so much money against it that he had to borrow money against his savings. He had to take early withdrawals from his retirement.
Yeah.
And that ended up causing problems, let's just say marital strife.
absolutely.
Yes.
And he ended up having to put out a book that was, small and bad, just to be able to fulfill what he had promised people. And I don't think he's made a comic since. So just
Yeah, and so I didn't launch the campaign until the book was done. That may have also been an error. I'm not sure.
Oh, no. So when you are a new creator, that is one of the best things that you can do to give your audience that peace of mind, but you also need to
bolster
make
your
sure
credibility.
that you have to make sure that it's very clear to your audience. The book is done and is ready to print. Because if you don't share that piece with them, then you're not getting the benefit of I made sure everything was paid for ahead of time.
Let me write that
This
down.
is me recouping. Um, if you tell people that, then what you do is, okay, this is a new creator, so I don't know that he's going to actually deliver on the book. Well, the book's already done, so how are you not going to deliver on it unless you literally are just trying to screw people out of money, in which case that's now coming down to listening to you talk and hearing you on channels and going, I don't know, it doesn't sound like he's trying to screw people out of money. It sounds like he's pretty passionate about this. So all of
Right,
those
and
things ease people into giving you money.
Yeah, and thankfully I can say that I think it was 78. It could be some number in that range is how many people already have the book. I believe it's something like that. What
Fantastic.
whatever is the number of books that are on the thing that I still have, minus from 150. So whatever that equals, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I have a certain number of people who can say, "Hey, I have that," and Blue's one of them. Thank you, Blue.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing is you've already fulfilled, this is the second chance campaign. So letting people know like, hey, we've already fulfilled this book and gotten it into the hands of people. We're offering it with some new covers to try and entice some new readers. And Blue actually had a good suggestion. I don't know if you have heard about Fund My Comic. But it's a new crowdfunding platform that was created by Luke Stone after getting frustrated with the way that Indiegogo and Kickstarter handle things, and they have a smaller percentage cut that they take from creators. They're all about indie artists, and they're about not censoring people. So,
What's
if
that say? A
you
no goal slash end listing?
so basically, treating it like a storefront. So
Oh, nice.
having it there and deciding when, how frequently you're going to do fulfillments.
Yes.
um that the one potential danger to that is that if you ended up getting a surge of popularity at some point, um you're going to have to restock your supply. And so
Can I can
if
I
you're
tell you,
not
can I tell you
prepared
something
for
fun?
that.
Can I tell you something fun?
hmm.
I live 20 minutes from the printer.
Oh, so you
The
probably have a
printer
good
literally
relationship with
brought
them.
me. The printer literally brought me the 150 books because he said to me, he said, "Oh, what's your address?" I told him. He's like, "Oh, screw it, I'll just drive over." Like that was nothing. He was like, "I'm not even going to ship these." I was like, "We'll just meet." I was like, "Cool," and we did.
Well, and see, and that's the thing is, so you have a little bit of an in, so that's not as much of a deterrent for you. So I would reach out to Luke Stone and see about possibly getting this over on Fund My Comic as well, um,
I really
because
like the advertising they do with the FMC logo and the
yeah,
characters looking at it. I think that's a
yeah,
fun thing. And
I think it's adorable, and I think it would be really cool with your characters. I think it would be really
What's that
funny with.
about leading with branding?
I know,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I'm just saying,
See,
doing a good job of
Luke is
that.
good at branding. Luke is very good at branding.
Yeah,
But
big.
yeah, I would look into that. That might be another good place for you to go. And then these books from this campaign, you have it currently set to ship in July. I'm assuming that that's not a concern, that you're not going to make that ship date.
I do not believe it will be a concern. As I said, I live 20 minutes from the printer. He hasn't printed yet, but it's only because I'm hoping to have more to order upon initial order because it only took him. I feel like it was 6 days from me paying him to me having the books in hand the first time we did this, and thus I am not really rushing to uh, say, "Oh, this is it," because I'm hoping things of this nature will then make the initial order increase. I
Totally
mean,
understand that.
not in like a uh, I don't know, weird way, but like just the word getting out is all I mean.
Absolutely. Totally understand that. I would say set yourself a hard date that you are going to solidify an order by. And I would probably do it at least by the last week of June,
Yeah, that
just
that is
to
the
give
the,
plenty
the
of time.
absolutely that is the current. That was my thought process.
Good. Okay, perfect. Well, it was fantastic talking to you, Oz, and I'm really happy we were able to get you on. I think that the book looks like a lot of fun, and I definitely think that there is an audience for it. It's just a matter of really kind of finding them. I think that that's probably the biggest
Absolutely,
hurdle.
and I think that your tips will help. I hope.
I hope so too. That's, the whole reason that we end up doing this is because we're hoping to. We've done how many shows now? Size is 367,
11
68.
billion.
Yeah, we've done a lot of Red Valkyrie presents. So we've managed campaigns. We've been on campaigns with friends. We've gone over the good,
Created
the
the
bad, and
entire
the very,
campaign
very ugly.
page.
So I don't think that you're in a bad way. I just think that you need to, narrow down on your target and narrow down on your branding, and that'll really help kind of catapult you forward a little bit. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you everybody in the chat for chilling, and especially all of you guys over here just giving us a hard time. We got Eric, of course, giving us all of the issues. We got Artsy. I don't even have words for you anymore, dude. You're ridiculous. But thank you guys. Blue with all of his wonderful commentary, making sure that we're hitting everything. Grey Wolf, you were awesome. It's good to see everybody hanging out. And who did we have? Somebody gave us a like over on Facebook. That was crazy. We also have Bullcat Studios, Gordon Goodbrother. You guys are wonderful. Why we do this. Thank you so much for hanging
Chris
out with
Howry.
us. Oh, and Chris. Thank you, Chris. Chris always gives us likes on Facebook. Makes us feel like we have any kind of following over there. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Red Valkyrie. If you're watching this on replay, give us a little comment. Let us know what you think about Everlasting Survivors. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.